What do you do when a recipe calls for a quarter cup and all you can find are measuring spoons? You work with what you have. Don't give in to the impulse to eyeball the ingredients. With a simple formula, you can calculate how many tablespoons it takes to make a quarter cup or however many cups you may need. The calculation is broken down as follows. 16 tablespoons equals 1 cup, so the equation is tablespoons equals cups x 16. 0.25 times 16 is equal to 4. Thus, there are 4 tablespoons in a quarter cup. Imperial measurements versus metric. Here in the United States, we rely on the imperial system. You may be shocked to find out that a cup is not measured precisely the same way everywhere. This may have no effect on your recipe whatsoever. For instance, if you are measuring the amount of peas in a pot pie, you can have slightly more or slightly less with no discernible difference in the recipe's outcome. However, these small differences can be important if you are baking. The best way to understand how to measure your ingredients is to understand where the recipe developer is located. The U.S. Customary System USCS. The U.S. customary cup is simply referred to as a cup because this is the standard form of measurement for things like cooking or baking in the United States. 1/4 U.S. cup equals 59.157 milliliters. 1/4 U.S. cup equals 4 U.S. tablespoons tablespoon. 1/4 U.S. cup equals 3.943 metric tablespoons UK, international. The U.S. legal cup. The U.S. legal cup is how ingredients are measured for nutrition labeling by the FDA and differs slightly from the USCS. 1/4 U.S. legal cup equals 60 milliliters. 1/4 U.S. legal cup equals 4.058 U.S. tablespoons tablespoon. 1/4 U.S. legal cup equals 4 metric tablespoons UK, international. Metric cup imperial cup. A U.S. cup and imperial cup are not exactly the same. Either. 1 imperial cup is 9.61 U.S. fluid ounces, but it is 10 imperial fluid ounces. That being said, the conversion for 1/4 imperial cup is slightly different. The difference is not enough to matter when measuring small amounts. But in large quantities, it can be important. 1/4 metric cup international equals 62.5 milliliters. 1/4 imperial cup equals 71.033 milliliters. 1/4 metric cup Australia equals 4 Australian tablespoons. Chart 1, tablespoons to cups conversions. If math is not your forte, you can make things even easier by simply referring to the conversion chart below. Measuring tips tricks. Always level cups or tablespoons with a knife for the most accurate measurements. This is especially important in baking. Heaping tablespoons are not a precise amount and should not be used unless specified in a recipe. All measuring cups are not created equal. Use a liquid measuring cup for liquids to get the most accurate results. The pour spout helps you from losing any of the ingredients during transfer. Sifting dry ingredients will break up any clumps and provide the most accurate results. Sifted flour, for example, is lighter than flour that has not been sifted and will mix into other ingredients like dough or batter much easier. How to convert tablespoon to TSP. Tablespoons and teaspoons are used for different purposes. Typically you'll see tablespoons used for larger quantities like cooking oil or soy sauce, while teaspoons are for smaller quantities like spices and seasonings. When you don't have a tablespoon handy, you can use an equivalent number of teaspoons. Here is a converter chart. Measuring tips. A few simple tips will help to make measuring a breeze. Always level your tablespoons or cups using a knife. Heaping amounts are incorrect unless specifically called for in the recipe. Sift dry ingredients before measuring for the most accurate amounts. This is especially important when doubling or tripling recipes. Use Pyrex liquid measuring cups to measure liquid amounts. Do not use coffee mugs or spoons without measurement indicators. International cups and tablespoons. Recipes from different countries or regions may use metric or older imperial standards that are slightly different. Usually, you do not need to make adjustments unless you are doubling or tripling a recipe, where the differences may start to add up. Nonetheless, here are the differences for the sake of completeness.